Hello, we are back for another episode of the Average Size Brothers podcast. This is episode 4, and I am, in fact, surprisingly, still Jacob.
I'm still Connor.
And we have a very special one today. A little different than what we've been doing the past 3 episodes. We're not really going to just talk about whatever it is we want to talk about, but it is what we want to talk about. We're going to talk about the JFK Conspiracy surrounding his death and all of that kind of thing. Because of last episode when Connor brought up conspiracy theories, I was like, might want to dip our toes into that. And so I asked my fiance here. She is going to be our first official guest. So I'm actually going to, give her a round of applause.
Thank you.
I'm going to introduce her. This is Kaylee. She has done extensive amount of research through the past week as I asked her.
All of it.
Yep.
Yeah. Pretty much all of it. Actually, all of it. She gave me some facts.
I am no expert. I would like to just lay that down.
And that's fine. We're just kind of just sitting here bullshit about it and maybe talk about what we think.
Yeah, I really do not know much about it. Like, I know it's a
I
popular one.
Listen, I did a goddamn paper about it in 8th grade. That's the extent to that. I've watched him get his head blown off about a dozen times on YouTube. That's the extent of my knowledge, really. I do have some basic facts here in front of me. I'm going to read off, so maybe me and Connor can...
That is your basic fact right there.
Well, these are still more basic facts that maybe we'll get to know JFK. You'll get to know JFK,
Ooh.
And then we'll get into more of, like, how he died and then what people were thinking and how they all came up with those conspiracies. But before we do that, I'd like to shout out AJ Nelson for this sweet shirt he got me in California, owned by Bucky Lasik, pro skateboarder, and he got me this hat, and he got me this shirt that my fiance is wearing.
Hey, he made me put it on. He made me change in front of his brother.
Connor got lucky. He's seen some titties. I know he did. He's peeking around me.
No, I wasn't.
I know he was. All right, well, let's get down and dirty with this old conspiracy. With this conspiracy about John Fitzgerald Kennedy is his full name. Connor, that's his full name if you didn't know.
He got the middle name Fitzgerald from his mother.
From his mother, if you guys didn't know that. His birthday, he was born May 29th, 1917. Boy, that's old. Mm-hmm. Well, it'd be old now if he would have lived.
Yeah, 2017, he would have been 100 years old.
So yeah, he probably wouldn't even live that long. His parents were Joseph P. Kennedy, and his mother was Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy, so... There's the middle name reference there that Kaylee just mentioned. He had 9 siblings in order. He was the second one born. So it went his brother Joseph Jr., then John, then his sister Rose, his sister Kathleen, his sister Eunice, if I pronounced that correctly.
No, it's Eunice. It's Eunice.
Eunice. It looked like an F. And that dog is going crazy up there. I hope you cannot hear it. His sister Patricia... Another brother, Robert, could go either way, brother or sister Jean.
It's a brother.
Brother Jean, and brother Edward, a.k.a. Ted. And he was actually born into politics. I do believe what his father was.
So his father was...
His father?
His father.
Yeah, his father.
A little tongue-tied. Okay, so, essentially, his mother and his father came from incredibly wealthy businessmen, and with that, you get a lot of lobbyists, and also, I believe his father, I don't know if he exactly was a senator, or if he was, like, running to become a senator, but they had a whole lot, because with money comes power, with power
That dog is going to fucking piss me off this entire time, I swear to God.
I didn't even
I can hear it.
Didn't even
I hope it's not showing up here. I apologize if it is.
You can probably hear it a little bit, but...
She's throwing fucking Rager up there.
She's great, Trini.
Jesus.
She's a good girl.
So he served from 1941 to 1945. Of course, he didn't,
What were you saying?
He was in World War II. Oh, wait, hang on. Which part?
That's in
Talking
here.
about his dad?
Well, here, let me let you know. Okay, for example, siblings. Super crazy. It's insane. So his sister Rose got a botched lobotomy because she wanted to vote, because she wanted to have rights, right? And so she got a botched lobotomy. So
women and their rights.
how dare we want them? But the issue is she just wanted basic ass human rights, and they got her a lobotomy.
It almost reminds me of women back in the day when they had any type of like, like, what was it, stress or anything like that, and like they'd go to get like pretty much vaginally by a doctor.
What?
What?
Do you not know about that?
Wait.
Okay, honestly, it might have just been a lie in a movie.
I
but
don't even know.
I feel like that's just a really bad porn dialogue.
Yeah, I don't even know what you just
see,
said
well,
right
why
now.
are we always wrapping it back into porn?
Well,
It wasn't
because-
porn I watched. I'm saying that back in the day, during this era,
I don't.
that
believe
just reminded me of like when women were like feeling distressed and didn't want to clean the house or something. They would go to the. I swear to God.
They could get shock therapy because they would get
No, but
admitted
they were
into the
getting
hospital.
they were getting
because
electroshock therapy on their pussy.
So
they were not.
So
getting
they were
I swear
going
to
to
God. But
a
it was-
doctor
it-
to have a vibrator put on.
Pretty
their
much.
pussy.
I swear to God. I swear to
No.
God.
That's what you're saying.
That is
Also,
well,
what time period are you saying right now? Because I need
No
to know.
clue.
because
Like, in this
during
time
this time
period.
period, no, this was not
Dude,
happening in
yeah,
this
I don't
time
know,
period.
yeah.
Now they did do
I don't know.
specifically
But I
on
guess it could be
African American women. They would do similar things to that, where I guess like yes, they did get pleasure out of it. However, it was not.
They were
there was a lot of
masturbating.
pain and issues that went along with it. It was a lot of torture. It's a
Off
whole
track.
thing.
We're sorry, but I just thought
Yeah,
that was an actual
maybe,
fact.
Maybe some underground doctors.
Maybe black market
Doctors.
doctors.
I don't know
Yeah.
where you got a fucking doctor from.
Yeah.
Or where
No.
he went to school to learn how to fucking pleasure
Porn
a
Academy, I
woman.
guess. I don't know.
Like what?
Anyway,
Anyways.
back to what you're saying.
So,
JFK.
essentially, Rose unfortunately got stuck with having the mental capacity of a 2-year-old. So,
yes.
For the
with
rest
that,
of her life.
she couldn't hold her bowel movement. She couldn't do anything. She ended up living, that happened to her while she was in her early 20s. She ended up living to be, if I'm not mistaken, 87. 87.
She was
Imagine.
the longest.
And you know what they did? They stuck her right in the home and never looked back.
They did.
So that's terrible. So, back into the little quick facts. Served
Wait, how old was she when she got the?
Lobotomy?
in her early 20s is what
Yeah,
she
she was
said.
in her early 20s. She was like 20, I think 22.
So can you fault her for putting her in a home? She was of age to do whatever she wanted.
Well, yeah,
Put her in
but
the home.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, but they also were the ones who gave her the lobotomy. They were the one who signed off on it. She
Jesus
did not
Christ.
want to get it done.
Which is
Oh,
crazy
what the-
that she couldn't.
Never
She,
mind.
Actually,
Never mind.
his older brother, Joseph, he actually was getting groomed to
Younger
become,
brother, right?
No,
Oh,
older brother.
Yeah.
He was actually getting groomed to become president. His father was grooming him to become president. And he unfortunately died in World War II, but he was a war hero.
Little fact for you.
Saved
Remember
a lot of
that.
lives. Killed a lot of Nazis.
Maybe you'll be on a game show one day.
Who?
He won't be.
The audience.
Oh.
Like, remember that fact. I don't know.
Oh.
So, JFK served from 1941 to 1945. Of course, you know, as I said before we got back to what Kaylee was saying. Didn't serve the entire presidency because he got shot.
And why was that?
Why wasn't? Well, he was right with the top down.
You said it way too fast.
Well, okay, so from 1941 to 1945, he was in the Navy.
Oh!
He was in his 30s. So, and he was actually an amazing war hero. He saved his entire fleet. And he, honestly, he wasn't even supposed to be in. He could have completely not have done it at all. He had incredible back problems because he was an incredibly sick child.
Okay, so he didn't. So let me read back on that. He served in the military from 1941 to 1945, correct?
Yes.
Not his presidency. That's not on here. It might have been. I don't know. I'm sure she'll get into it.
How old was he at this time?
This time, I think she said he was in his 30s.
He was in about his early 30s when
Yeah.
he served in World War II. He did not have to at all. He came from, not only did he come from money, he didn't really have to do much if he came from money, but also he had incredibly bad back problems that he ended up having to wear a back brace. Later he had to get spinal surgery, almost died from it. He has, in his entire lifetime, and I guess
Bad
in his
luck.
death, total of 5 rights. And in the Catholic religion, you're basically only allowed 1. But they believe that he was going to die at least, certainly 4 times. One of scarlet fever, one of the disease, if I'm not, Addison's disease. Another one
He's
was
a fucking cat.
What?
He's got 9 lives. He said he fucking.
Well,
This
I guess
fifth one.
I guess he's not a.
yeah, he got cut off on the 5th.
Yeah, not too lucky on the 5th one.
I mean, he had a whole lot of issues growing up, but essentially he had horrible back issues, and it caused him to wear a back brace. And he did all these exercises and stuff like that because he really wanted to fight in World War II. And he ended up being in a submarine. The submarine got blindly hit by Japanese. The Japanese thought that they just completely destroyed them.
Pearl
2
Harbor.
people died, unfortunately, but he saved his entire troop of people, whatever, and he literally was like, guys, look.
So he's in the water.
Yeah, he's in the water. And not only was he in the water, but when they all got in the raft, there was a couple guys who could not swim. So he put his life vest on another man, put it in his mouth, because he used to be a swimmer for school while he was in high school and college. And he swam 2 miles with this rope in his mouth to bring him to the closest island.
So pretty much JFK was also Aquaman. That's not a true fact, but it might be.
Dude, I'll tell you what.
He might have had gills. Maybe that's a
There are
conspiracy.
some swimmers out there that are insane. Like,
I mean, there's that one who swam the English Channel. Or
man,
something like that. I don't know.
I just heard. I can't remember. There's this female swimmer that.
She, if I'm not mistaken, she swam, or I don't know if she completed it, but she at least attempted. She swam the Panama Canal, and then she tried to do the entire Atlantic Ocean.
Something. I can't remember. But she
All
had
right,
some
so-
crazy, like, breath, like, the, I don't know, time, I don't know.
Breaststroke.
Strokes per second.
He was married
I don't know.
to
Crazy.
Jackie Kennedy, but boy, we're going to find out that he was a real slutty boy.
Wait,
he
can we
was.
go back to his dad? What about his dad? Was he a greaseball in any way or what? Huh?
I don't think
I
so. I
mean-
think he was a really good dad, from what I've heard.
I don't. What about?
He had a lot of
What?
money. A lot of money does not equal necessarily great
I
dad.
don't care
I
about.
don't think he
couldn't
was.
tell
I don't
ya.
think he was a worthless father. I don't think.
That's
I
not
mean,
what
it's
I'm
just
saying.
like-
raised them all.
That's what I'm not saying.
It was a different time.
It was.
You
That's
know?
what I'm saying. Did he have his?
I think the
hands in
mother
cookie
probably
jar
did
or
more
what?
of the raising of the kids.
Well, straight up, they were so wealthy. It was probably nannies. I mean, I didn't look at that part because I've only been prepping for like 2 days.
But the father,
Never knew
yeah,
anything.
father was probably banging whores left and right.
So is he in the
Honestly,
mafia? You think? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, honey, yes.
Yeah, so
wait
I don't
until
know.
I get to my theory on
Yeah.
what I think happened.
let's get
Alright.
through these simple, basic facts.
Well, I was
we'll
just
get in there.
wondering,
God,
like,
it's such a.
You're-
I didn't know if there was
mind
more
altering.
about.
We're getting our
his
toes
dad.
wet
I
right
didn't know if there
now.
was more about his
You're
dad or
fucking
not.
diving in, pal.
Bro.
Yeah, because like I didn't know if there was more about his dad or
Chillax,
not.
yeah, we'll get there.
Dude, this
In
is,
due time, sir. In due
I don't
time.
even- Okay.
I
Tiny
have-
eyes.
I don't get into conspiracies. I think conspiracies are so whack, but this one,
Just really
it
threw her for a
fucked me.
loop.
It really did because I'm not going to get an answer. I'm not going to get an answer on what happened. And
Well, at least something's fucking her because I have dick problems right now. So
Did you ever see the Howard Stern episode where supposedly a guy came on with a piece of JFK's brain?
no.
actually, it is true that there is a piece of JFK's brain who was missing. Allegedly, they brought it back and buried it with him, but
Allegedly.
we don't know. I
the
couldn't tell
museum.
you. I wasn't there.
So okay, so yeah, he was
Imagine.
married to Jackie Kennedy. I'm pretty sure he never got divorced. She was riding with him, shotgun.
He tried to leave her twice,
Let's try to leave her twice.
allegedly.
Allegedly.
But it was in
Um,
both the women's memoirs. Included one of the women was Marilyn Monroe,
Monroe.
and there was a phone call exchange between Marilyn Monroe and Jackie Kennedy about.
Would you fuck
him
Marilyn
leaving
Monroe?
her.
Yes.
Now she's a dead corpse.
Would you
That's
fuck her dead
fucking
corpse?
gross.
Yes.
If she-
No, I
if
would
she-
not. I'm kidding.
If she before she died was like anybody, I have give consent
this
to
is
fuck
like-
my dead corpse.
This is no conspiracy. There's gotta
Boy,
be
oh
something about
boy,
Marilyn Monroe
this
here.
what is this? A JFK conspiracy? Or if Connor will fuck a corpse? So
Well, why
married
would
to
I
Jackie
say that
Kennedy.
like that, huh? I would not.
He had what? 4
Joke.
kids.
Oh well,
Oh.
no, he had
3 kids. So he had 3 kids. John Jr., Caroline, Kay, and Patrick, who died at 2 days old.
Yes.
And they also had lots of miscarries. So there could have been more little kids in the pumpkin patch, but
well, realistically, this guy probably has like 100 fucking kids just existing.
Illegitimate kids is what it would be.
Bro, this man, I swear to God, he would fuck a hallway if he could.
Probably fuck a corpse. So yeah. So Patrick died at 2 days old. Kaylee probably knows what he died of. What did he exactly die of? Did it say?
He was born at 32 weeks. This is before a lot
So
of
early
incubation.
pregnancy. So.
No, not early pregnancy. He was just born early.
Oh, he was born. Well,
his lungs couldn't develop. He died of lung problems. They didn't have like a steroid
R.I.P.
or vitamin
Patrick.
K or anything.
Maybe you could have got shot like your father instead, taken away from the world too early.
Well, his other son ended up getting shot after him. Probably linked to the same issue. So he only had one child who ended up living, and that's Caroline. Caroline has a lot of information about him in the memoirs between her mother and her father. And so, like, I guess her mother, like, talked about everything that happened, whatever, and she, like, to an interviewer, and then she sued him because she was like, oh, wait, everything I just said, I recant. And he was like, no, you can't do that. And then she was like, bitch, try me, I'm a Kennedy. And then so he won. Or
so
she
I guess
won.
being a Kennedy has its perks.
Yeah.
So, Mr. JFK died at 46 on November 22nd, 1963. And that is probably where we will start getting into this whole conspiracy of how he died. You know, people think it's Lee Harvey Oswald, who was the one who took the shot from that, hotel window or something? Second-story hotel window. But before we do get crazy into it, I want to ask Connor what you know. What do you think, and what's your gist of the conspiracy?
It was an inside job.
It was an inside job.
By who? By who?
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, who do you think?
Who would want JFK dead at this time?
So many fucking people.
Exactly, so like...
Oh, God.
Yeah, I'll start with mine, so you can think on it a little bit. So from what I remember doing my research and what I've seen throughout, my lifespan here of 22 years, I've read into it just a little bit. So I've read that it was the FBI, the government who wanted them dead, is what I've read, and they hired Lee Harvey. Fucking Christ, I'm gonna butcher his name every time. Lee. Is it Harvey Lee Oswald or Lee Harvey Oswald?
I just call him Oswald. I'm bad with names.
We'll say Oswald, yeah. So Oswald, they hired Oswald to kill him. And then before he could be put on trial, they shot and killed him. So then they really wouldn't have to do anything, and they could just sweep it all under the rug and get the next guy in there. So that's what I have always heard. And, the shot was impossible to make at the time. There's no way that Oswald could make the shot.
He
totally could have done it.
He was framed.
But
right.
I don't even think he was framed.
You know what?
Oh, man.
You know what I also want to do? Sometime in this episode, I want to compare. I've seen this thing where they compare Abraham Lincoln and JFK, and dude, it's the fucking craziest thing. They're like two, like the way they both died, and like shit that correlates is fucking insane. It's weird, but in the sense that Oswald did it. But there's a bunch of different conspiracies.
They look the same.
This is all based on the conspiracy of Oswald.
Yeah, the killer had the same birthdays and shit.
Yeah, and he was shot in a Lincoln, and he was in like a movie theater when he got. I don't know. I'll pull it up on my phone eventually, and I'll down the road of the episode. But we'll probably get into what Kaylee has read up on this entire week. She's going to thrill us and kill us with all of her facts on JFK. So let her dive into it. Because you have 3 different conspiracies kind of how it happened and who did it?
Yeah, I have what I truly believe. But
okay, let's start with whichever one you want to start with.
Okay, so...
Let's do this. Let's start with the most basic one that everybody...
CIA did it.
Okay.
Okay, so essentially, everybody's like, man, CIA did it because... So CIA got created because they just needed to get information on other people, other countries. They needed kind of something that's like, yes, it is technically government, but it's also not the government. They kind of have a little bit more leeway, For example, the CIA is able to assassinate other people without the government, without the President of the United States being like, yeah, man, that's a great idea.
So you're telling me the CIA and the FBI are 2 different things?
2 extremely different things.
Wow, that's fucking news to me. What about you?
Yes.
Did you think the CIA and the FBI were in cahoots? I thought they were just worked hand in hand.
I don't think so, right?
FBI is more like,
CSI,
you consider them more
Miami, FBI.
What's FBI stand for?
It's like...
Hang on. What's FBI stand for, Connor?
Federal.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking badge.
Federal badge? No, close.
Identification. I don't fucking know. What is it?
Federal Bureau Investigation.
Yeah.
Information.
Oh, fuck, look at that.
It's
hand.
just
Close.
information. They do not do anything. They're only information people.
Information people. Even though the FBI comes after you and arrests you and shit. Fucking.
I mean, they can make arrests, but they're more like the death
Well, not now.
No,
Not now that I know it's
anything.
information. I'll be like, huh.
They 100% can arrest you. They're
Not
agents.
investigations.
The CSI, I don't remember what CSI, the CIA stands for.
I'm just looking up the Abraham Lincoln thing so I can get that ready.
Yeah, CIA.
We don't need to do the Abraham Lincoln thing.
What are the differences?
I just want to point it out. It's just something interesting.
They're all just coincidental. They have nothing to do with each other.
I don't know. It's interesting though. People would like to hear it. It's interesting.
So, anywho, they believe that the CIA did it. Because, for many, many, many reasons. One, they believe that Kennedy... So the CIA essentially just wanted to nuke everybody. They wanted to nuke everybody in Vietnam. They wanted to nuke Fidel Castro. They wanted to nuke Soviet Russia, China. Anybody who was living and breathing who was not American, they essentially just wanted to nuke you. No repercussions, no anything like that. They didn't think, hey, these other people have nuclear bombs. Russia has actually deployed 2 nuclear bombs, not at us, but at other people. I should not be fazed by them because why the hell not? Because we're America, And so that's
America.
going on. The CIA is also heavily funded by big business, which big business itself is just its own theory. But before we get into that, big business is funding the CIA. The CIA is like, oh, big business, you want me to do this, that, and the other? How much are you going to pay me? And then they're like, I'm going to pay you whatever you want, Daddy. And then they're like, okay. And then so that's a big issue because, it's just funding. It's just all funding. It's all money. Root of all evil, horrible, horrible things. So Kennedy was seen as kind of going soft on communists because he didn't want to just obliterate the entire human race. God forbid.
He didn't want to be a Hitler.
This, I think, would be like a step above what... If he were to have done it, I think it would be even worse than that because it's not just specific races, it's the entire... everything.
Oh, so I guess more than one race could be a communist.
He could single-handedly, if it went poorly, he could have single-handedly destroyed everything. However, but it was also believed that the Cold War would not have lasted as long as it did if he would have gotten reelected. It was suspected that he had a 7-year plan of how to just end everything.
So he was going soft.
No, he wasn't. He was going soft. He just wanted there not to be war. He actually invented the Peace Corps. So he was the person who, or the Peace Corps that we have today, where we go out and we feed and clothe and educate other people who are impoverished. He is the person who does that. And he is the American aid. Which,
Good for you, JFK.
It didn't turn out, I don't know, man. I got mixed opinions about that because then we also have cultural appropriation and whitewashing and blah, blah, blah. And basically just shoving America's head in everybody's ass. And we don't need that. They can do them. Within reason.
Yeah, I think JFK was dead from the jump.
He had amazing intentions and... He just
didn't know how to deliver, huh?
No, he was a phenomenal president. I don't have anything negative to say about him, truly, other than, he could have done a little bit more, but also his hands were kind of tied. Anywho, so, him not wanting to nuke everybody made the CIA you fucking asshole, I hate you. And he was like, well, I fucking hate you guys
So that's the first, fuck you to the CIA.
Yeah, and the CIA is like, well, I bet he's a communist. He has to be a communist if he wants to talk to them like a human being.
Okay.
And so the CIA had that going, and then they also wanted to make the Cold War last longer, because if the Cold War lasts longer...
More money.
More money for them. Cushion them pockets.
Dick Cheney.
Ooh, man, I could go on a whole rant about Dick Cheney.
But that's not this podcast.
Fuck Dick Cheney.
This is JFK podcast.
Man, I could literally talk, years about this. So, if we can just, without going super nitty-gritty details, that is essentially why the CIA did that. And Oswald, a part of the CIA thing, bringing Oswald into that, they believe that Oswald was not actually this communist, Soviet spy, whatever, in America. They actually, because if I can give you the specific name of his roommate, because I listened to that interview. So there was a guy by the name of James Pathalo. He is currently a Texas judge. He was an old roommate with Oswald. He said that Oswald hated communism. Like, while he was in the Marines, hated them. Absolutely just completely destroy them. I hate them. You know, make them bleed red if they want to be red so bad. So, you know, whatever. So, like, that's what he's super well known for. He was mentally stable at the time, like, super awesome, super great. He said that there's nothing he could really pick out. He wasn't the best marksman. He wasn't the worst marksman. He was okay at it, you know. He ended up getting discharged for, it's not unknown reasons. It's essentially like, you're not great at your job, go home.
Was it honorably discharged?
He was honorably discharged.
Okay.
But, interesting fact, after he shot JFK, after he died, it then turned into a dishonorable discharge because he was unwanted, and it said specifically unwanted for political ideology. Why would you change that? Would you change that to make it fit a dynamic or a storyline, you know? Interesting. So, it is believed...
Framing them.
Yeah, truly, it is believed that the CIA actually framed them to gain trust. So basically what they wanted to do is make Oswald look like he could gain the trust of the KGB to get intel on Russia.
What's the KGB?
KGB is essentially Russia's version of the CIA.
Okay.
And the CIA and the Mafia... Oh, okay, hang on. The Mafia is a whole different thing, but man, I cannot wait to talk about my theory. So essentially they were like, man, go and talk to him, and then... And just kind of basically setting him up over a long period of time. And it wasn't even that long of a period of time. Like, this is over the course of, like, I don't know, I think, like, 3-4 years. Basically his presidency. Odd. Odd that it's about his presidency.
It's very odd.
So strange.
I'd say.
So, yeah, that basically happened. So how do you go within the course of 4 years, this all-American bleeding red, white, and blue to only bleeding red? And how do you become this, like, mentally unhinged person? Now, his mother did suffer from, no, it's also this time period.
Was Oswald ever hit in the head when he was younger?
No.
That seems to be a recurring case between all these murderers.
Serial killers, specifically.
Yeah, well.
But,
crazy people. They're all crazy.
Some of them are.
Yeah. So if you get hit in the head, you're doomed?
No,
pretty much.
It's a prefrontal lobe thing.
I mean, hell, I hit my head when I was younger, so watch out, Kaylee.
Ooh. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's basically it's like a prefrontal lobe thing, being able to make decisions, and then it's also the amygdala. That's a gland in there, and basically you're like, that's like your... You remember that movie with fucking Adam Sandler, and he played football? Foosball?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he was, like, in the classroom. They were talking about the...
Dula Oblongata?
Yeah, that specifically. And he was like, whatever, the crocodile, whatever. That's what it is, you know? So you think mean and upset.
He got out of the toothbrush.
That's right. Exactly.
So that was your first conspiracy, or is that...
That's essentially the first conspiracy, is that the CIA set up Oswald to take the fall and made the shot
so that is
kill the President of the United States.
Right there. That was the gist of everything she just said.
Yep, and they believe that to make it easier for Oswald to shoot the president, to give him the place, whatever, because he already booked everything, 3 days previous to the run, the little parade, they changed course 3 days prior. And they published it in the newspaper. And he just saw it, and bam, there we go.
Well, fuck you both. I'm going to read my Abraham Lincoln thing real quick before we start on the next ones, because I think it's interesting.
Okay.
Screw you guys. So, these are...
You gotta be rude about it.
Well, you guys are being rude to me.
How? No one said
You're
anything.
Like...
No one said a thing.
I don't know.
Nor did I.
So, there were some coincidences between Mr. Abraham Lincoln and JFK.
Emphasis on coincidences.
Coincidences, but the coincidences.
Killers.
So, both Abraham Lincoln and JFK were first elected to Congress in 46 and became president in 60. That's that now. We're going to get a little crazier, you know. John Wilkes Booth shot Lincoln in a theater and ran to a warehouse. Lee Harvey Oswald shot Kennedy from a warehouse and ran to a theater.
Oh my god. It's like they're the same person.
It's almost like it. When Kennedy was shot, the car he was riding in was a Lincoln. Lincoln's last name was Lincoln. Kennedy slept with Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe was in Some Like It Hot with Jack Lemmon. Jack Lemmon was in JFK, which tells the life story of John F. Kennedy, who was assassinated just like Lincoln. That one doesn't make too much sense. I don't really get that one. But John Wilkes Booth shot Lincoln in his theater booth. Lee Harvey Oswald shot Kennedy in a motorcade.
Okay.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, I don't even know what
Listen. I don't know this. This one sounds wild, but kind of is weird. Abraham Lincoln has 14 letters. John Fitzgerald Kennedy has 21 letters. Assassinate has 11 letters. That's all it says.
Numbers.
Not really.
It's a numbers game.
What
Yeah.
was there? 11, 21, and what?
14, 21, and 11.
What was the date they died?
Don't know.
Figure it out.
Both men except Kennedy were born in log houses.
Both men except Kennedy. So one of the men.
So I guess
What
one
are
of them.
what are the similarities between?
I don't know, but I swear, back when I read these a long time ago, they were. I feel like they weren't this. But anyway, Lincoln's wife's maiden name was Todd, which, ignoring one of the D's, read backwards is Dot. One of the two symbols used in Morse code created by Samuel Morse, who invented the telegraph in 1844. Kennedy's wife Jackie married Aristotle Onassis from Greece, which had a civil war in 1944, exactly 100 years later.
Man, these are really reaching.
These
are
I don't know.
trying so hard.
There's only 5 more, so I'm just gonna.
You've lost everyone.
Clearly, these I feel like I don't know. It literally has a picture of John F. Kennedy and Lincoln here, and they put their faces together like they look like. I don't know. Dad's calling me, dude. I'm fucking busy. So both Lincoln and Kennedy were succeeded by their vice presidencies, of course. Lincoln's nickname was Honest Abe after chopping down his father's cherry tree. Kennedy once said, "I cannot tell a lie." Truthful people.
Honest Abe.
Lincoln and Kennedy both died of Lou Gehrig's disease, not from being shot, as is commonly believed.
All right.
What do you mean?
Alright. That whole fucking 10, 20 minutes. That wasn't 20 minutes.
That wasn't 20. That was more like
5
4
minutes.
minutes.
Of what you just said was all a complete lie. After reading that last one,
well,
all of it, none of it
one
was
more.
20 minutes, so they
Despite DNA testing, 100-year separation, and overwhelming popularity belief,
well,
Lincoln and Kennedy were actually the same man. These. Okay, listen.
Not think
You
you're
know who I
fucking
think
with me.
Listen.
Not think
Listen,
you're fucking
listen,
with
listen.
me, and you knew the whole.
You know who-
After
killed-
after I read these, I now apologize for wasting that 5 minutes of your
and
guys'
being
lives.
rude.
And being rude. You know what? Yeah, because that was so stupid. Maybe my young brain back in the day was like, oh my god, can you believe this? But now I'm just reading, I'm like, what the fuck does this... This makes no sense. But I feel like back then it made way much more sense. I'm going to text Dad to stop calling us, though.
No, it didn't. I don't even think it made sense back then.
No,
I think you made up.
I think. No, that was just bad. That was just really bad.
I
Somebody
couldn't even
really took
follow
the
it.
time. Somebody sat at their computer, made a whole ass
Sounds like I got
website
fucking
Just to get
rickrolled
him.
just
there.
for you.
Just to get you.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Never again will I fucking say anything about anything. That was rough.
Yeah, you're
I hope
saying-
I hope you stuck through that with me, for God's sakes.
You were saying stuff about something.
JFK and Abraham Lincoln are the same people.
They're the same people. If
You believe that?
and it said it. It was on a website.
They weren't
Must
even
be
shot.
true.
They
Did
weren't
it get
shot.
posted on Facebook?
No, it looked like it was like just chopped together on fucking Microsoft Word.
Very trustworthy.
Oh my.
So, back to JFK. Kaylee has what? The second conspiracy theory that she read about. I'm so glad she did more than just one conspiracy because
No, I
it kind of gives us a lot of angles.
I want the fucking good one. Alright.
Well, this one's the second one.
The best is for last. The best
In
one's
due
my
time,
theory.
you'll get the best one. Just like Yoda said, wait.
I didn't watch it. Alright.
I don't know. I didn't watch it either. I think Yoda said like wait or something. Force be with you.
So the second theory is that it's the mafia. Like, that's the other, like, biggest one. Is, oh man, mafia, super scary. And people are like, well, how could it be the mafia? Why would it be the mafia? Okay, well, several reasons. One, the big Marilyn Monroe thing. Okay? So
how does Marilyn Monroe tie in with the mafia?
Because she married a mafia man.
Who was this mafia man?
Do
you remember?
I don't. I'm bad with names. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
That's the one name I didn't write down.
22 slugs.
So essentially, I wrote down a couple names, like most of the people who killed other people. But essentially, so like, all right, Marilyn Monroe was with this mafia man, and this mafia man, and mind you, when JFK and Marilyn Monroe slept together, allegedly, even though it was in both their memoirs, but it's alleged because neither one of them said it happened.
Right, because they're both dead.
Yes, dead people have a very difficult time talking, and so either he had like some type of jealousy or something along those lines. Plus, on top of that, the mafia and big business had beef with each
Nothing works.
other. And so, essentially how it works is the union is trying to get rights from the steel plant. And the big business in the sense is the steel plant. And so what the steel plant was trying to do is spike up the prices of steel and not pay their workers any additional, not give them any safety precautions. People were literally burning alive in the steel plant.
OSHA violations is what I fucking hear.
Yeah, absolutely. All day, every day. And so the issue that they were going through is they were trying to work out a deal. And JFK, it turned out to be such a big deal because, I mean, the entire infrastructure of the United States relied at the time primarily on steel. And so he was like, look, all right, let's work out a deal. The deal is, union workers, you guys go back to work. Steel, you guys are going to be set at a fixed price. It's going to be like, I don't know, like $2 or whatever. So it's like $2. And you're like, oh, yeah, sure, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. So they both signed the contract. And then Steel decided, you know what? Fuck everybody. We're just going to do what we want anyway. So the union is really upset with them. Well, guess what? The union is backed up by Teamsters. The Teamsters are backed up by the mafia. You know, like Hoffa and all them. Exactly. Right. So that in and of itself is super duper scary and you don't want to mess with them. So they're like, oh, you know what, Kennedy? Making us fucking look like bitches? I'm going to make you look like a bitch and splatter your brains everywhere. And so Oswald could very well have pulled the trigger, but here's some issues with that. It could just be a total setup. Or maybe he had Oswald in on it, and Oswald did pull the trigger and stuff like that. What's super interesting facts about Oswald is that he had no gunpowder residue on him whatsoever. That's a little odd. Yeah. But then again, based on how high of I don't know anything about guns, but they were like, based on how high of the caliber it is or how hot it is, basically all of the gunpowder would have burnt up before it could even touch him. Allegedly, I don't know if that's true. I don't know how it works. Guns. Super fun.
Manly things. Manly.
I don't know. All I know is I don't know shit about it. So, yeah, so there's that. And then, so they believe that there was some shooter who we have no idea who it is. They could have possibly gotten arrested later by whatever claims. But I think it's just so interesting because there are two theories on how JFK got shot. One's from behind, one's from ahead. And I also think it's very interesting that there's a two-shooter theory, you know, because specifically based on how he was shot in the head is the most interesting. The initial autopsy reported that he was shot from the front, not from behind, as far as the head goes. However, with the chest going out the throat, obviously that's from behind, but there's a chance.
Well, I feel like the video I've always watched as it goes.
Exactly.
So I don't know. So it had to be in front of him. But who did the mafia hire? Does it say anything about who the mafia hired to do that? Just because it's just a conspiracy.
It's just a conspiracy. There was not any specific name I could like. There's a couple of them who are like, oh, I did it. Just like freaking. Oh, who'd you tell me to look up? And I looked it up. And
Woody Harrelson's dad
allegedly did it because he was a hitman. I don't fucking believe it. I think that's just
they're all clout chasing.
That's just
exactly.
I did it. It was me.
Yeah, so that's an issue, but there is an issue because the mafia overall did shoot Oswald. Because obviously Oswald had some information that they didn't want getting out. Why else would they shoot him? It's not because they love Kennedy. Can't be. Absolutely cannot be, because he loved Kennedy. There's no way. That does not make any sense at all. What was his name? Jack Ruby. He was the mob man who killed Oswald. So, do you know something about him?
No, it just sounds like a familiar name. I don't know why.
I know Max and Ruby.
Oh, yeah. That's familiar.
Nickelodeon.
Yep. So
Nick Jr.
that overall is like, that's the reasoning. That's like in the grand scheme of things, like bam, bada bing, bada boom. There you go. So that's the mob theory.
So that is the mafia theory on that.
I think it's just a lot of insight.
I'm still leaning towards, in my opinion, after you heard that, what do you think, mafia, or do you think CIA? I'm still thinking the whole FBI thing.
They're probably in it all together, honestly.
I still don't think, of course, that fucking Oswald made that shot. I don't know, did you look into the whole shot
How many shots
Yes,
were there?
so-
One or two? I believe there was two.
There were
right?
a total of 3 shots that
Three?
fired. The initial shot, I don't remember. I have his name written down, but I got some okay notes going on here. Basically, the first one killed, I don't remember if he was a governor or a senator, but essentially, okay, so 3 weeks prior to the assassination of JFK, there was the governor of Texas, and I don't know if he was a governor running for senator or if he was a senator already, but he went there, and there was like a big old welcome sign, like, come on in, like, I'm super stoked to be here, guys.
I'm a governor.
I want you to be here, what's up? And so all of these kids from the college show up, and they let him talk, and literally as soon as he starts talking, they all flip their signs around. It's like, fuck you, dude. You bleed red, you're a communist. Not here in Texas, ma'am. Not in Dallas. And so, like, they were very upset about it. Even the initial banner, like this big ass sign that looked like fixed in there, they turned it around.
Jesus.
Yeah, like, they hated
Imagine
him.
everyone's like, yeah, woohoo, and you're all hyped, yeah, these guys fucking love me. And then you get the shit kicked out of you.
Yeah, well, I guess one guy tried to, like, wrestle him, and his bodyguard got him off of him. The other guy tried to, like, assault him. A woman, with her sign, as she turned it around, she started beating the shit out of him in the head. So, like, mind you, this has only happened, like, 2, maybe 3 weeks prior to him start. And mind you, JFK, very important, this was his very first day. He hasn't even announced he was running for president yet, the next presidency yet. He just said, I'm just on a tour across America. This is the very first tour that Jackie has been on with him. And I think, like, 2 or 3 years, because she had a miscarriage. And she was trying to, like, recover emotionally from that.
Oh, so this was before JFK was even going to be president, or announced it? This governor got the shit kicked out of him?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So, like, mind you, JFK has already been president once. Like, he's still in his whatever, but he's talking about running a second term. It's all talk.
He's still in his first, okay.
He hasn't yet claimed that he's going to even run for a second term. I mean, it's pretty obvious he was going to, but, like,
right.
He didn't say anything.
Alright, so third conspiracy.
This is my conspiracy.
Okay, so this is Kaylee's conspiracy on all the shit she gathered. She's very excited, I can tell, by,
I can let you know, it's not excitement. It's because
maybe
it
stress
is
excitement.
so mindfuck that this is the only reasonable explanation I can come up with. Like, mind you, people have came up with ideas that it's Castro. That doesn't make sense. Because he was the only one who was willing to talk to him. He knew that if any other presidency would come up, they'd try to rock his shit. And in fact, Cuba... So I was listening to this judge. Let me see exactly what his name is. He has a really good interview that came out in November, and I listened to the whole thing.
Like a shirt.
He has read every single classified and an unclassified document ever in the United States, and he also got clearance to Russia's, because Russia conducted an investigation, because, like, I don't believe Russia did it, because, like, there's no way. There's no way.
God damn you.
There's no way that Russia could have done it. There's no way that Fidel Castro could have done it, because...
Russians are fucking crazy, man.
They're scary, but they're kind of nice.
They might have done it.
They're like the only wild animal of a person, you know?
They're just all free. It's like a zoo over there.
It's amazing. Gosh, I could talk about Russia all day. I love me some Russia, honestly. They would have put me in a freaking internment camp in America because I would
Back
be
in the
like,
day, yeah.
Look at them. Look at their tracksuits. But
What's the only game?
so there was this guy that I just listened to. His name is John. Let me see. 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 Ustum, I believe is his name.
Ostrom?
Yep,
John Ostrom. We'll go with
and
that.
Chief
Ostrom.
Judge Thunheim. So Chief Judge Thunheim was he was just like a super big deal. Like, he helped not only being the legal advisor ambassador for, like, you know, the embassy and stuff like that. He has done extensive work with the CIA. He's done, like, he's basically, like, he's been the legal guy of anything major in the United States. He's a really big deal. And so he got all the classified information from Russia, from Cuba, from anybody and everybody who has conducted an investigation. He has his own theories, whatever. I think that he is a cover-up guy, so I only take what he says with a grain of salt. Yes, cool, he's talking about some things that are not classified necessarily, but he kind of, like, hinted. And, super fun. I still think that he's just thinking, oh, it's Oswald, let's just pin on Oswald, it's the easiest one. And this is me saying this. I always think that the most likely thing to happen... I think the most likely thing to happen is probably the thing that happened. Realistically, you know,
There's an inside job.
Seriously, like, okay, for example, if I see the dog with the shoe in his mouth, you know what I'm gonna think? I'm gonna think that the dog chewed up the fucking shoe. I'm not gonna think the cat did it. I'm not gonna think all of these whatever. I'm gonna be like, this is what I'm seeing. This makes the most sense.
This is what I'm believing.
JFK is not like that at all. There's a fucking shoe, there's an ape in the room, there's a fucking dog, there's a cat, there's a Jehovah's Witness in the back, and for some reason there's an Amish guy on the roof. Like, how the fuck, why is he there? This is fucking downtown Kokomo. Doesn't make any sense. I don't know this man.
Right.
That's how much sense this makes. Okay? It doesn't. So, I base this off of what the doctor said. Because the doctors are going to be the only people who are unbiased. They have no idea what's going on. The CIA, there's no way that they could have gotten to them in time because it doesn't even make sense to bring JFK to the specific hospital.
They were just trying to let him die on the way, huh?
Yeah, I think that them changing, because the reason why they even changed course, JFK didn't even want to change course as far as, like, driving. He got told that they should because they didn't like the way the grass looked next to the limousine in the park.
What about driving with the top down? Was that a factor?
It's a Lincoln. It's a Lincoln. That's all I gotta say. Like, you're really gonna get in a convertible in fucking Dallas, Texas during a parade
You
and
just
not
pull
take
your
the
head
top
out.
down?
Well, you should have.
Yeah.
Should have left it up.
Hey man, mistakes were made. And I truly, like, I think a lot of the things are just like, it sucks. Like, for example, the back brace. If he was not wearing that back brace, he could have fallen over and he wouldn't have gotten shot in the head. Amazing. That would have been so great, but he was wearing the back brace.
He would have fallen over at that exact moment.
As soon as he got shot from the back through the throat, yes, he could have lived. But
this is only speculating if there's actually two shots.
Yes, I'm a firm believer that there were two shots. I believe that one of them came from a mafia member, and I believe that the other one came from Oswald. Yes, because I believe it is the CIA, I believe it's the mafia, and I believe it is big business. I think they're all in cahoots.
So, man, they were all there just plotting against him.
100%. I truly believe that. I think that
The driver.
they're like, even the driver. Because here's the thing. You know what the driver didn't do? Even though, mind you, this driver fought in World War II, he didn't speed up. He slowed down.
Have you seen, like, the video, like, crazy? It looks like he turns around and shoots him. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
And on top of that,
I've seen that.
How is the... Alright, if I...
Jackie was not hyped when he got shot.
Yeah, well,
She was jumping out the back.
No, well, she was jumping out the back to grab his brain. Because a piece of his brain flew out. And
Why is she worried about grabbing that?
Because, alright, you're in the moment. Okay, you're in the moment. I'm just going to say a woman because that's going to be the only way that you're going to get it. But you're a very compassionate person, okay? This is the person you love. This is the person you care about. This is everything to you. You just saw them get shot, and you're in shock because you're the only person who truly understands what's happening because you're in it. Okay, and then next thing you know, they get shot again, and a piece of their head comes off. My first thought, like, you get, whether it's you lose a finger, whatever, my first thought is, I gotta take this piece of them so we can put it back on, because that's gonna be the best chance of
No, definitely not. If I saw a piece of a fucking brain fly out and, watch them dying, I'd just try to help them. Because in reality, in my head, I'm thinking, the fuck they're not gonna staple the fucking brain back on. There's no fucking way.
But you've had time to think about it. She didn't think that's how her day was
That's all
gonna
she
go.
thought? Grab the brain.
No, it's just like, okay, if you lose an arm, do you want me to not grab your fucking arm?
Oh, that's different.
how is it different to her? She doesn't know what we know.
If a samurai man come and chop my arm off, sure. Because I can probably live through that, most likely.
I mean, she could be grabbing the skull. There's things that she's trying. She's doing her best. That makes sense to me.
She's probably...
What else?
She's probably turning around like, we got him. Was Jackie in on it?
And I think
because he was a cheater?
Super interesting, too. Okay, yes, he did get shot from the back through the throat, but as far as his brain goes, it had to have just slightly grazed his scalp and caused all the skull fragments to, because this is a very powerful ammunition, this is a very powerful gun.
Caliber, I think it would be.
Caliber, I don't know. All I know is, watching all the videos that I've watched, it did not hit him head on. Pun intended. But it didn't hit him head on. It just grazed him. But with that grazing, it caused fragments to come off. Okay, and in order for it to have came from the back,
so they planted explosives in his head.
Definitely not. So it had to have been, in my opinion, I think it's two shooters because in the medical autopsy it said that he got shot from the front. Oswald would have had to shot him from the back. And this is a doable...
Right, and you can actually... I'm pretty sure you can stand in the exact place where Lee Harvey Oswald was standing in Texas. Supposedly, you can stand where he was standing. And, they show you. So you can see how of an insane shot it was.
It wasn't that insane of a shot.
Everybody says
he's also a trained shooter.
There's been the whole
for the Marines.
Oh, the fucking bullet had to have gone this way and turned 90 degrees and shot him up that way.
No way.
Shit like that. I've heard.
That's not true. For example, there was a guy who he made a phenomenal point. He said, "Look, I'm not a sharpshooter. I'm not anything like that. I was playing with a BB gun. I shot a dragonfly. I happened to shoot." And I saw it fall, but I was like, man, where did I shoot the dragonfly? Because that's so cool that I even did that. He shot it perfectly in the head. It was a chance thing to happen that he shot it so well. But it still worked out remarkably well. It could just be a freak thing. 100%. It could just be a freak thing. But I really, truly do not believe he shot that man 2 times. I truly believe. And it's not based on that gun. Based on the gun he was using, there was also a specialist that came in and said there is not a way he could have possibly reloaded that gun fast enough, set himself up. The sights were off on it. The sights were not correct on it. There's so many issues just with the gun itself. There were his prints were not on it, which he could very well wipe them off. But there's just some issues with that.
But hey, now we know he was running to a theater. Thankful to me.
Oh, and he shot a cop directly after that, and that was actually what helped them find him. But allegedly he didn't shoot. There's conspiracies with that also. And then I truly believe that it was some mob member who shot him and then had Oswald in on it. I think Oswald could have been playing both sides as far as big business goes, or as far as
I think he was just a decoy. I don't think he shot him.
I think that he shot him one time.
I didn't think he shot him once. I think they just all pinned it on him, honestly.
See, but he had the room. He had the gun there. He's owned this gun for a long time. I do think that a lot of things did set him up in the sense of okay, it's portraying too much. They're really trying to make us believe this. Sure, I do think that is a possibility, but I just think for the time period and how corrupt the CIA probably still is, but not. I just don't think the CIA is necessarily as corrupt as it was then, because you have Watergate, you have Operation Paperclip, there's so many things around this time period where they're just fucking everything because they don't have the technology that we do, so it's a little hard to get rid of it's hard to get rid of the evidence. And on top of that,
I think even now the fucking government can still get rid of shit if they want to.
100%.
It's definitely not out of their hands at all. It's not like what the fucking police are gonna come in and fucking do anything about it. Because
you are the police. That's the big issue.
I am the law.
Yeah, you are the most dangerous when you are the one in charge.
Not wrong.
Because what are you gonna do? Okay, for example, it's the whole not, and it's not in a political sense at all. It's not, but this is the best example I can give. It's if you do not have the police and somebody is doing something horrible to you, you are in fact the police now, so it's all on your shoulders. That to me that freaks me out, because don't get me wrong, I love control, but I love being able to call some fucking body. You know what I'm saying? Make this somebody else's problem. I don't want to be in charge of this. You know what I mean?
Citizens arrest. That's what it comes down
I
to.
can imagine standing there with you when JFK got shot, and you're like, I see the guy.
Stop.
Halt! Halt! Lee Harvey Oswald.
Freeze!
You just know his name.
Well, and then
I travel back in time. That's what you making it sound like right now.
I'm saying we both were there.
if you could ask him one thing, like genuinely one thing,
And he had to tell the truth.
I don't
Who
know.
are you talking about?
Okay, I guess
Oswald?
if you could pick one person here to ask, like not here, but like in this story, out of all the characters that we've discussed in this real life situation, who would you ask? What question would you ask? Which one?
I would ask. I'd ask JFK. Hey, why you?
You picked the worst.
Why?
I mean the worst fucking person.
Why? I'm gonna ask him why he let those people redirect the fucking route. Like right after they redirected it, I mean, like, why are you fucking letting them do that? It's a bad choice. I tell you that.
Well, here's the thing is, I don't think
Like, why didn't he stand up and be like, no? Why are we changing that?
I don't think if
I would be
any of
because
us got to
clearly
anyone.
he's fucking into some sketchy shit. Probably.
Oh yeah.
So if they're just out of nowhere, hey, we're gonna move this because of the fucking grass. Come on, you had to at least see like, well, man, this kind of seems a little suspicious. I don't think I'm gonna let you guys change the track. We're going the same
you
way.
think that?
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, I think he's still dead.
You think he's still dead?
Yeah.
No, because then they have to move and run around. No way.
There's two shooters, bro. One of them's in the car. The other one's
That's-
on the fucking
Okay, so you
land,
believe the
bro.
two shooters, one's in the car.
Well, yeah, right? Because if Lee Harvey Oswald was shooting from, well, I don't really know.
From
Was
the
it from the
second-
back, or was he?
Allegedly, he was from the back,
Yeah.
not from the front.
Allegedly.
Somebody had to shoot him, in my opinion, through the front because. And then people are like, okay, the reason why they're like, well, we don't want to take the original autopsy to heart. The government doesn't want to take the original autopsy to heart because they're like, well, these are some very young and inexperienced doctors. But mind you, the main person who performed the autopsy, and mind you, it's on a United States president. I think that they would have sent somebody in to do the autopsy.
Yeah.
So essentially, that person, whoever did the autopsy, is going to be the most credible, the most unbiased person to do it, period. I mean, he has made hospitals, he has been world renowned, he's been used in several other autopsies that are just completely major. I can't remember his name, because God forbid I wrote it down. But phenomenal.
That's alright, you did a good job on all this, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So, wrapping it up,
Appreciate it. Appreciate all the time and effort.
Thank you. I would
Connor,
like
do you have any final thoughts about this before we get into some other things? That I have
Yeah. No, two guys for sure. 100% or something.
I would love if you guys would pick a topic I'm passionate about so I can be way into and remember things.
Well, that's what I'm going to get into. So, I still think it's the CIA, honestly, at the end of the day.
I just think it was a big.
So, of course, this isn't our regular
For certain.
shebang of, me and Connor bullshitting half the time. So, if you would like us to do something like this every now and again, then, let us know if you liked this. I know it's kind of like not professionally done. And it was fun though. I hope you enjoyed listening to it at least.
I would like more than 2 days to be able to research this, especially
Yeah,
something that is this big. Because it's
So,
a lot.
There's a lot of conspiracies out there. If you have any conspiracies that you might want us to go over and have a good time talking about, then leave it in the comments or DM it. We do have the
aliens,
Instagram. It is in
The aliens, man.
Nah, fuck the aliens, dude. I don't like talking about it. But the Instagram is in the bio. You can
Description.
go there, follow us on there. We actually, got over 100 followers in
Something like that.
less than 2 weeks, so we appreciate that for sure. We do updates. We let you know, I think, a day or so in advance. We give you a little clip of the podcast is going to be out, so you get a little teaser of that. I think we might... I know I need to make a Twitter for sure, and I can share that on there. So yeah, if you guys do want us to do any more of these little conspiracy things, every so often, then let us know. Kaylee was our first guest. We're going to have more. She was kind of like out of nowhere because I was honestly tired and didn't want to listen to her talk about it, and I wouldn't have fucking been able to explain it as good as her, of course. So, again, thank you.
You're welcome. I feel like my brain is a milkshake, and I need somebody to slurp it so I can get off my mind. This is too much. I would much rather talk about, like, Ed Gein or freaking Albert Fish or...
Me too.
Somebody I know...
This is out of nowhere. This was, like, unplanned. And Connor just said it, so I was like, I'm going to run with that. We can make a decent podcast out of that. It'd be fun.
I'd love to talk about some very serious passion raping and vulvas getting cut off, personally. But hey... Presidents, why not?
I'm getting married to her, so I don't know. But, yeah, honestly, please, leave some comments for us. Please DM me questions, or, for the love of God, something to talk about. If you would like to listen, I will look at it. I have all the time in the world. I'm on my phone 24/7. I'll get to it. I'll respond to you. Although I'm just me, it's not really a big deal that I do respond to you, but hey... At least I showed interest in what the hell you had to say. So yeah, I think that is pretty much all I had to hit on the whole social media platform thing. And I hope you liked the last week's. And we will be here again next Monday for sure. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Goodbye.
Of all the belts.
God damn it.